My name's Andrew Foster, and I'm one of the Discovery College team. We wanted to welcome you to the first episode in a series of little short recordings that we hope are going to give people a sense in Mindful May of how they can bring some mindfulness practices into their everyday life, whether it be as professional, whether it be as someone living with some of their own challenges, or a bit of both. So Bianca Otto, who's also a member of the Discovery College team, works closely with me. We're going to have a bit of a chat today to explore some of the things that we have found through mindfulness over a number of years, give you some perhaps ideas about what we think would be good places to start, and hope to set you up well for perhaps getting engaged in some of these other episodes that we'll continue to lodge here on our Discovery College social media sites and so on, as a part of this commitment to being present in Mindful May. So Bianca, a big welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So for those who don't know me, my name's Bianca and I'm a learning consultant with Discovery College. And my pronouns are she and her. And I'm really excited about doing these videos with Andrew, just to give a bit more of an opportunity to share some conversation and possible techniques around mindfulness.
And something I didn't share is that my pronouns are he, him, and his. So thank you for prompting me there.
It's okay.
Your introduction, Bianca. I just wanted to start off by asking you. So, you know, you've shared very briefly that you've got some expertise in mindfulness. Why mindfulness? What led you there?
That is a long story, but I'll give you the short version. So essentially to support myself through my journey of anxiety and depression. So it was something that I learned in 2010, and I went through a process of thinking that I had cured myself. I had gotten rid of my anxiety and depression, and then a couple of years later, it came back. So I've found that practicing mindfulness for me is an essential technique in managing my anxiety and depression.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How about yourself? That's okay.
Yeah, not too dissimilar to you. I've got a number of diagnoses. I guess most of my diagnoses came quite late in life, and I think that's quite unusual actually for a lot of people. But I suppose the thing for me that really was the situation that led me to finding mindfulness practice was that I fell into addiction. It was something that was happening over a number of years, and at a certain point I decided that enough was enough. And what really allowed me to actually draw a line under things and take a new direction or path, if you like, was finding a real sense of meaning and value in practicing this approach of mindfulness. And particularly for me, it was through meditation and those aspects of it, although it's over the years, it's broadened into other parts of life as well in everyday being. So not too dissimilar, actually. I suppose somehow we all come to something that works for us in our own ways, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. I wonder, I mean, clearly we're in a bit of an unusual situation with these COVID-19 restrictions at the moment. And I suppose for every one of us, there are challenges, and I think quite a lot of nice opportunities as well in this different way of being. Has there been anything for you that you found particularly valuable from your mindfulness practice that's perhaps been something that you've been able to use and engage and utilize in these different times?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been an interesting experience. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, and I think one of the best things for me is in those moments of not feeling great and in feeling that the weight of that uncertainty and feeling the lower mood, is knowing that that's not me, that's not forever, knowing that will shift. And there is so much, like, it gives me a lot of, I don't know if security is the right word, but it allows me to know that that's not where I'll be forever, and I'm not stuck in that, and I'm not going to come out of this experience, in that deeper state of depression. So I'm surrounded by people who would love to support and help me, unable to at the moment, so which is really lovely. But knowing for me that I've experienced this before, remembering my previous experiences and knowing that I either have skills or that I know that that will shift, and there will be moments of joy or contentment or a little bit of ease at some stage. So knowing that I won't jump out of that extremely quickly, but that will shift in its own time. So allowing myself to sit with that without that pressure of having to force myself out of that has been really helpful.
Right.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, look, it's really an interesting time, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I live in a small 2-bedroom apartment, and for part of this restriction phase, I've actually been waiting for COVID-19 test results because I became a little bit sick. Thankfully, I'm negative, but I wasn't able to leave that 2-bedroom apartment at all for 6 days. So I was really quite feeling, I suppose, at times confined or a little bit empty. But my practice has been quite useful. Do you know what? One of the things I've been telling myself is that I've got this, I can manage this, I've done this before. The reason I say that is that back in 2011, when I finally came to a decision to, I suppose, acknowledge that I had an addiction, I made a decision then, a conscious one, to dry out. And that was really a 12-month process of really reshaping what my life would look like. And in that, I had to develop a lot of new practices, let go of some old ones, and learn to live with big gaps in a day that traditionally I'd filled with just drinking alcohol for quite a long period. So this isn't dissimilar, really. You know, there's a lot of time by myself in a small space with lots of distraction from my mind, my body telling me that things are, you know, a certain way when perhaps in a broader objective way of looking at things they're not. So it's been really interesting, but my practice, whether it be sort of sitting and deliberately giving myself a meditation opportunity, or whether it be in a moment sort of exploring what's happening with my thoughts or in my body, I've got it. I can do this. I've done it before. And that really, for me, feels a little bit like runs on the board. So it's been really quite supportive for me through this this changing time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is definitely an interesting time, and I think, you know, we navigate it differently on each day. You know, we don't really know how we're going to feel or what's going to happen with all this uncertainty. So yeah, that's really wonderful. Thank you.
So look, you know, clearly both of us have got some passion for this approach. You know, it's something that we already have. You don't have to go and buy anything to bring mindfulness into your life, do you? It's something in bringing an attention to the present moment in the absence of judgment, something that we can all do wherever we are, whenever it is, whatever the circumstances, and however we're feeling. But do you, through the sort of number of years that you've been deliberately and intentionally practicing in this way, do you have any little tips or suggestions or recommendations for people who might be tuning into our conversation as to what might be things to consider? I suppose particularly I'm thinking for those who've either just dabbled a little bit in mindfulness practices or really not done much at all. What would you say to them?
I would go to the idea of letting go the idea of being successful at it, remembering that it's a practice and it's not always going to be easy and we're not always going to be good at it. And in those challenging times, allowing those experiences to bring a little bit of insight for ourselves. So if we're sitting down trying to meditate or be mindful of our thoughts, and that's really hard because our mind is really busy, that's okay. And just sitting down and giving it a go is the practice. It doesn't have to be this beautiful experience every time, and it's not going to be that experience every time. So knowing that the practice is sitting there and giving yourself that space, that opportunity to connect with yourself and to really see how you are in that moment instead of just pushing on through life all the time. It's knowing that it's not going to feel comfortable and right all the time, but that experience is sitting with ourselves and providing that opportunity.
That really resonates.
Yeah,
that really resonates for me. I suppose, you know, there is a propensity in our minds to judge things, isn't there? You know, spend a lot of time judging this or comparing a situation or a feeling with something else that we would sort of perceive as a better one. And in that, you know, in those things, or labeling something right or wrong, or black or white, or big or small, or hard or easy, whatever, somehow in that sense of of difference, we create a bit of struggle, don't we?
Yeah.
And again, I'm really with you on that. If we can let go of those judgments and that sort of labeling, comparing stuff, and just be with what actually is,
Yeah.
somehow through that there becomes a little bit more of an ease of who we are and how we are and what we are.
Absolutely.
Which is, it's really powerful.
Yeah. Did you have anything else that you wanted to sort of add to that, or?
You've said some really great stuff there, and I suppose what I'd be mindful of is not wanting to overload, particularly for someone who wanting to sort of start up perhaps a little bit of exploration of what mindfulness could be for them, not to overload them with too much information.
Yeah.
But I suppose what I could say at this point, and we'll follow on in this series with some other little practices that can be helpful and are hopefully beneficial, which might be some more starting points for people. Actually, how do I do this stuff? But at this point, I suppose I'd say just be thinking about what it is that you think the place for mindfulness in your life, in your day is. And when you've got that sense of an idea, see if you can deliberately find a space for it. Bring an intention to have mindfulness or an awareness of your present experience, your present moment experience, as part of what you're going to bring into your day to day. That might start like it did for me in a formal meditation practice, but it doesn't need to do that. In fact, mine's actually shifted more away from that and actually allowing myself to drop into the present moment when I'm doing other things, when I'm at work, when I'm with my daughter, when I'm making a meal, when I'm taking a shower, whatever it is. And so I suppose with that sense of what this could be for you, just allow that to be a small seed that can grow into something bigger, but without the expectation that it will, but just set an intention to come back to this thing each day or in a particular moment and let that go where it will go for you. I suppose that's my biggest suggestion at this point.
Yeah.
We're gonna carry on, aren't we, with this series?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're hoping so. So if people, are hoping or would like us to share some techniques, we'd be happy to do that throughout the month of May. So if anybody who's watching this has, is curious about anything or would like some ideas around various techniques, please let us know. Otherwise, we will just share something that we've found useful or think that could be useful for the community. Yeah.
So, Bianca, a big thank you to you for sharing in some of the things that you've shared with me today. I hope that someone out there, more than one person, hopefully, is going to find some value in what we've talked about. And we look forward to engaging and connecting with them again. And I certainly look forward to working with you again over the rest of May. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Pleasure.
See ya.
Right, bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.